Hey, how are you?
Good, very good. How about yourself?
Not too bad, thanks. It's good to speak to you guys finally. I must admit, this seems to be the album that finally realized true commercial potential. Would you agree?
Well, it's so far it's doing pretty good, I guess. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Does it surprise you that it happened really with? I mean, as much as there was acclaim with the last three, this seems to be the one that has truly sort of broken through for you.
Well, I guess on the one hand, it's a nice surprise. Yes, it is. I mean, you always hope that people are going to like it and receive it well. So it's a very nice surprise. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But did you anticipate this kind of a welcome?
Me personally, I don't know. Maybe so, I don't think so. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, it's as I say, interesting for a territory like South Africa, which is probably one of your newest fans, just based on the fact that the previous albums haven't been available here, but now thanks to V2, you know. Desertus Songs is now available here, which is great. So it's very much Mercury Rev are very much a new thing here in South Africa, but the history of the band goes back some 10 years.
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm. But now, as I say, in that period, if you have to look at Desertus Songs and say the previous albums and EPs that came before it, is this album much removed from the last albums, or is it pretty much just a continuation?
I think it's a continuation. I think one of the things that makes it different, I mean, there's sort of like this plate tectonics that's been happening where people have been shifting and whatnot, and so there were some shifts happening, with the people who were working on the record, and so it distinguishes itself from the record previously that way, and also everybody's just getting a little more defined in their own heads, less ambiguous about the kind of music we want to make.
And I mean, at the point that you are now, was this is this what you had envisaged to create with the band? Obviously, after having initially created the band on a whim.
Um, Gosh, it's hard for me to say. I've been with the band myself 4 years, so I wasn't with the band at the very inception of the band. I was doing sort of parallel things myself. But from what I can tell, it's not as much of a surprise as you'd think, because I think a lot of the spontaneity at one point was kind of like a bookmark. Stuff that people wanted to be there, but just weren't sure how to put there yet. So I think there've been a lot of these ideas floating around for a while. It's just that people are getting better at expressing what might have been dreamed about expressing 5 years ago, say.
Mm-hmm. Now, the process, obviously, with there being six people musically on this new album, is it sort of a pooled effort? Do does everybody contribute, or do you just is it a case of somebody writes will write the lyrics and somebody else will do the fills and the bits in between?
Oh, it's definitely a combined effort. You never know who's gonna do what. I mean, in some cases, some of the songs might have been co-written, and some of the songs might have been one person might come up with one song, or another person might come up with the other song. Jonathan, our singer, of course, wrote almost all the lyrics because he's doing the singing, so that makes sense. But even the songs that one person might initially write, by the time they're embellished upon by other people, have become a group experience, I think.
Because just as I say, my personal interpretation is that Mercury Rev is not is not truly isn't truly a commercial act, because it's not. It's the kind of music that you have to explore, that you have to discover, that doesn't come to you from one listen. It comes from sort of a discovery of the album over a period of a couple of listens. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think that's very nice of you to say, because I think that was our intention.
Great.
Because we want to make music that people will want to listen to again, and also will find more stuff in. So that's very nice of you to say.
No, great. Because as I say, that I think the best way of sort of summing it up is that it's almost got a fourth dimension to it. Whereas, I mean, even with the single, which is currently being playlisted here at the moment, "Goddess on a Highway," that's probably, to me, the most commercially accessible track, in the sense that it would go right across the board. But then you go into the album perhaps expecting that, and that's not quite what you get, but you're not disappointed.
Well, to tell you the truth, when we first made the album, we weren't sure what the first single would be. So a single is not always representative. I mean, we knew what the first song was going to be, so in a way, we, in our own minds, were introducing the whole album, with the first song, but we sort of knew that at some point something was going to shake that up a bit when the single was decided upon. And so it just happened to be that one. There might be other singles coming that easily could have been the first single. So, I mean, the single is a funny way to enter an album. It's not really through the front door. It's just sort of this commercial side door.
Sure.
But hopefully the song matches the rest of the album enough that people would find the whole thing enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. And your relationship now with V2, this is the first album to come through V2, is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. And was that done? Who approached who, or was it a case of you wanted to get your music out to an even wider audience, to the point that Church Who Likes South Africa has now got access to your music, whereas before we could get it via the States, but we didn't have a channel here.
I think one of the wonderful things about V2 is I don't even know if Access was the first idea. I think we saw that this was a label that was into what we were doing and was into giving us musical freedom. And the fact that we're getting more exposure this way is icing on the cake, really. But what makes this a very good label is the people here. They're great people, and the artistic freedom, basically.
Mm-hmm. Now, as I say, not to get into the horrible trap of sort of summing your music up in a nutshell, but where would you say your music belongs? Obviously, it should be certainly on the charts, but it's not like anything really that is out there at the moment. It's almost as if Mercury Rev is setting a whole new genre unto themselves. I mean, you can hear, if one had to make similarities, that there are one or two that you would probably come close to, but still, the sound that you have is quite unique.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's not unique in all of history, because it borrows freely from things. I think, and this has been said in the newspapers before, is that we just borrow from older sources in some cases. We're not just borrowing from the 70s or the 80s or whatever. We're borrowing from the 50s and the 30s. I mean, so I don't think any of us think that it's completely. I mean, the combination might be unique, but really, it's there's a lot of stuff, obviously, that we're building on older music that we respect.
Is it representative of the of the personalities that make up the band?
I think definitely so. I think I think you would, if you I couldn't make a whole chart for you right now, but I think if you really started to look at it and hung out with us all, you'd start to understand. Oh, this came from there. This came from there. But our tastes kind of match in many places, so it's helpful that way. And also, even when they don't, we always respect the other one, and we're always eager to listen to the other guy's ideas and points of view and whatnot.
Right. I mean, you've been so well received, especially in the UK, and I think also to an extent across Europe. Was that a little bit of a surprise? Because I mean, the English are known for being, particularly fickle and very much drawn to their own before they'll look, across the waters to,
Sure, yeah, it's a very pleasant surprise. I think it's just great. I'm very happy that people like it, not just in terms of success and whatnot, but we set out to get people listening to music, and if people are responding that way, that means they're listening. So yeah, we take that as a good thing.
Absolutely, I think Mercury Rev are going to be responsible for. It's almost it goes to show, I think, because I think one has an impression that that the buying public is very, they go for things that are easy on the ear, things that aren't too difficult or take a bit of a challenge. Whereas this album, with all its with everything that it has to offer, is embracing an incredibly big audience, which I think is fantastic. Which goes to show that obviously your listening public is growing with you, which is good.
Well, that would be great. What I like the idea of intergenerational too. That would be just fine because obviously I played it for my whole family because my family is involved in my life and what I do and whatnot, and my parents like it. My grandfather likes it. Most of it, just parts of it he doesn't like, but he likes most of it, which I think is pretty cool. And my little niece, who's a baby, responds musically to it as well. So as far as I'm concerned, widening the audience, it would be nice if it, not just meaning like more young people in different countries, but just like, it'd be nice if, just more people of different walks of life just responded to it as music. I think that would be great.
And, I mean, you started the new year with a bang. I mean, your album was seen as the #1 album for the year by NME.
Yeah, that's nice.
How are you going to top that?
Well, I mean, that's not the goal we set out to do.
No, sure.
Was get #1. So I think that the best way we can top ourselves is to top ourselves musically.
Sure.
To just keep being, try to be true to ourselves musically. And the next album, it might not be as well received, but if we feel that we've topped it musically, that would be the challenge. I mean, topping is kind of an odd word. It's I can see where it's coming from, but yeah, it's just about kind of like staying the course and trying to experiment according to our own likings, and if people keep liking it, that's just great.
Sure. Is it difficult to sort of stay true to what you're doing? I mean, obviously as your profile grows and as your fan base grows, I'm sure you become painfully aware of the numbers of people that are out there embracing what you're doing. Does that affect you in a positive way?
I personally just assume that I'm kind of in denial, I guess. I understand that more people have heard about the band, but I just when I walk around, I just assume that nobody would recognize me. And for the most part, I think that's true. Nobody would. So I just kind of forget about it. I'm just still doing the same thing I was doing a year ago. But it sure is nice when you pull into town and there's people in the audience who really, respond. So as far as I'm concerned,
that's good.
Yeah, I just kind of keep doing the same thing.
Well, I mean, if anything, they're embracing the music, not the image or the personality.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad. Not so much us, but the music. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, Adam, if I could ask you one last favor, if I may, because I know our time.
Yeah, sure.
Could you do a short RD for me? I'm going to be putting this out on radio as well as doing an editorial for it, and it's going to be going out on a show called The Cutting Edge. And if you could just play around with that.
So you would like me to say you're listening to The Cutting Edge or something like that?
Yeah, you could say, hi, this is Adam Snyder from Mercury Rev, and you are listening to The Cutting Edge.
Okay, The Cutting Edge, do you want me to give you any call letters or anything, or just The Cutting Edge?
The Cutting Edge is fine. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I'd be glad. Do you want me to just repeat it a couple of times in case I muff it up?
Sure, as I say, you just go ahead when you're ready.
Okay, so you're recording me already, right?
I am.
Okay. This was going to take me like 3 tries because I always get the giggle. So
no problem.
And well, here we go. Hi, this is Adam Snyder from Mercury Rev, and you're listening to The Cutting Edge.
Fair enough.
Okay, is that good?
That's good. No, levels are fine. Everything's great.
You don't want me to try it like this? Hello.
Yes, you could do that. You could do that.
Hey, this is Adam Snyder. No, the guys would kill me. I better keep it straight.
I mean, you've got an image, Come on. Yeah,
yeah, we do have it. We have, we're very concerned about our image. If
Absolutely.
you met us, you would, They're a bunch of goofballs.
Well, as long as it's fun, that's why you do it. It's got to be fun.
No, we're having a blast. We are having a blast.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Jason. It's been great to talk to you.
Lovely, and all the best for 1999.
Okay, and you too.
Thank you.
Okay, take care of yourself.
Thanks then. Bye bye.
Bye now.